Hi, boys and girls. Today I'd like to talk to you guys about how readers are always thinking. That is a skill that all good readers have, is that readers think about what they're reading about. It helps them make understanding. So I'd like to point out my Reader's Workshop mini lesson statement, so that I want you guys to write this in your Reader's Workshop notebooks. So before I read that, if you need to pause the recording and go grab your notebook and a pencil, go ahead and pause the recording and go grab those. Meet me back here when you're done. All right, now that you've grabbed your notebook and your pencil, open it to the next empty page. I'm going to read the statement first and then I'll let you copy, all right? It says, readers are always thinking and talking about what they are reading so that they can remember their new learning, okay? I'm going to go ahead and let you pause, and I want you to write that statement down at the top of your page, just like I wrote it on the top of my chart paper. All right, go ahead and write that down. All right, we always want to record our mini lesson statements in our notebook so we can keep a record of all the things that we're learning about in Reader's Workshop. So now I'd like you to draw a line. I drew a little squiggly line. And now I'd like you to write the words think about, because we're going to make a list of some things that readers should be thinking about when they're reading, okay? The first thing is readers should be asking, are characters changing? Sometimes characters change in the book. You might even be starting to notice some of the ways in which Chase is starting to change a little bit in the book Restart that we're reading so far. So you might even be thinking about that while you're listening to me read it aloud to you. So go ahead and write this down in your notebook as well. All right, now that you've written this down in your notebook, I'd like you to write the next one down. It says, what are characters doing and why? You might have wondered what did Chase do when Shoshana dumped the yogurt on her head, okay? And so if you're thinking that, you're thinking, what are characters doing and why? Why are characters doing the things they're doing? It helps us come to a deeper understanding of what the plot and what the story is about. So go ahead and write this point down in your notebook too. All right, now that you've got that written down, we're going to go to our next one. Okay, it says, what will happen next? We usually call that a prediction. Okay, go ahead and copy this down. All right, now that you've gotten that line down in your notebook, let's write another one. Let's write down, what was the problem? We're starting to see what the problem is with Chase. Chase, it sort of is starting to seem like he wasn't a very good person. But now he has a chance to restart his life. So the problem is, he got hurt, he got amnesia, and now we're trying to figure out what's going to happen to him. Is he going to get things straightened out, or is he going to continue to be a poor peer to his other friends at school or in his family even? So I want you to make sure you write down what's the problem in the story. Okay, now that you've written down what's the problem, let's write down the next one. What was the solution? Another thing that you might notice if you read a lot of chapter books is that oftentimes each chapter has its own problem and solution. Sometimes it may stretch out over chapters, or there may be more than one problem or solution in a chapter. So it's always good to be thinking, what's the problem and what's the solution? So go ahead and write that line down in your notebook too. Okay, another thing that you might be thinking about when you are reading is you might come across a word that you don't know and you think to yourself, what is this word? I've heard a lot of kids, when I do read alouds to them and I read across the word and it comes in a sentence, and they say, what does that word mean? And we can figure it out. And that's a really good thing to ask. Good readers, that's how they learn new words when they're reading, is they ask that question, what's that word, and how does it fit in with the meaning of the sentence? So that's a very good question to ask. So go ahead and write this down on your list too. All right, now that you have written that one, we're going to write the last thing on our list, and it says that readers self-monitor for understanding. That sort of has something to do with keeping your eyes and your mind on your book the whole time, okay? So as you're reading, you need to ask yourself, does this make sense? Is what the character doing making sense with what I know and think about the character, okay? So now that you have had a chance to write this list down in your notebook, today for your assignment, what I would like for you to do is in your reading, and we're still gonna be building on that reading stamina, all right? So today I'd like you to read for 12 minutes, okay? Practice that stamina. And I'd like you to come up with 3 questions that you came up with while you're reading. Now you're going to need to have either a post-it note, like 3 post-it notes or 3 little pieces of paper, something small that you can jot those questions down on, and then you can stick those in your book, okay? So I want you to be thinking of 3 questions that you have when you're reading. And what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to make a video explaining to me what you're reading and what were your questions that you had while you were reading. Because I would like to see what kinds of questions you're asking yourself when you're reading so that you can become a good reader too. All right, guys, thanks and have a great day. Bye.